What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Now It's Legal podcast. It is often said that you can't be a finance pro and an athlete. Henley Tippins didn't just ignore that, she rewrote it completely. Her brilliance is not just beyond ambition, but her empathy for hundreds of student athletes who felt trapped, choosing one between the other. And from seeing the need to building a solution, we have Henley Tippins from Georgetown, women's soccer. Thank you for coming on the pod.
Yeah, thanks, Grayson. It's awesome to be here.
Man, it's great. We have a great view.
It is unreal.
We can see the Washington Monument.
Yeah.
So I like to start it out easy.
Okay.
Where are you from? Where does this all start?
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Eh,
Born and raised and spent, from childhood, lived on the same street my whole life. Fun fact.
Wow. So now you move here all the way from Atlanta. Now you're here in Washington.
Yeah.
Tell me, what is some of your favorite monuments to see around Washington, D.C.? I'm sure that there's you have the sightseeing, you have the beautiful river that's running through here. But what's some of your favorites that kind of make you love Washington so much?
Yeah. Well, the first thing we like to do is in the spring, our off season, we'll as a team, we'll all run along the Potomac down to like the Washington monuments, like, Lincoln Memorial, like right there. And it's just so cool because we always tell people like you don't get to do that at a lot of schools. It's quicker to run than it is to drive, or just 2 miles. And then, we'll go around the White House. And I just think it's cool too because that's one direction, but then the other direction out the front gate is you're like it feels like you're back at home, like it's all green and forest and you're running along the Potomac and you're like not in DC suddenly. You're like in like really, really thick green, like it's just so gorgeous. So yeah.
Well, Atlanta, I think, has its own prestige and kind of the love for it. But to compare it to Washington, I mean, there's just no comparison.
Yeah.
But you are founder and CEO of Athletes Invest,
Yeah.
and you're still a college student.
Yeah.
And what sparked the idea of creating Athletes Invest, and for what reason?
Yeah. It's actually interesting. So just for context, Georgetown has a huge finance culture. So, like being in the business school, it just kind of feels like everyone goes straight into banking. And being from Atlanta actually was a bit of a culture shock for me. And I felt like I was kind of already behind in the first week of school as a freshman. Because everyone was like practicing these technicals, and I didn't even know what a technical was. And so I just wanted to get a feel for everything, and I felt like I was kind of spiraling. And I asked, who do you go to? You go to people you know. I went to my teammates, and a lot of them are, 3940 finance majors at one of the best business schools in the country, and they're on the women's soccer team. They're all American soccer players. And I said, how do you guys do this recruiting thing? Like, how do you get a job in finance? Um, why does it seem like I'm just really out of the loop? And they're like, when we figure it out how to do both, we'll let you know. And until then, like, it just no one really can figure it out, especially being a fall sport because you have your summer internship and then you head right back to campus. And that first week is when you're expected to show up peak fit and everything. So that summer is really important time. And a lot of internships are 10 weeks and they run later. So I went to my teammates and they didn't really know yet. And then I asked around and I said, do we have any women's soccer alumni that are working in finance, that I could talk to? And there were a few, but I realized there's not one succinct list of women's soccer alumni who had been in my shoes. And I knew that they were out there because we have a lot of really smart women who
Yep,
come through the program.
absolutely.
And so basically I was talking about it in the training room actually, and two of my football friends heard it.
Oh,
And
wow.
one of them was like, Hold on, that's not a bad idea." Because I'd said, "What if we started an investment firm or an investment fund and a club for student athletes? Because we have a million clubs on campus for non-athletes." So I was like, "What if we started one just for athletes?" And he was like, "Hold on, that's not a bad idea." And ended up being four of us, two football players, Connor O'Neill, Max McCormick, and then a sailor, Von Sladoff. And the four of us started it, and it just took off. It took
Yeah.
off. So
Whenever you go to the website, first of all, whoever made that website looks amazing.
yeah,
I was able to
thanks.
see your founders and sailing and was it football?
Yeah.
Who are those people and kind of what role do they play? Obviously, they were kind of at the exception point. It's kind of like when you write down an idea on a napkin and someone
Yeah.
likes it.
Yeah, so we decided early on that the structure of how we did it was gonna be our differentiator. And we decided that, like, because of what I mentioned with, like, athletes want to hire athletes. And so early on, we knew that, like, our alumni database was going to be a huge part of our club.
Mm.
So we had to have someone do outreach. So think like cold calling alumni, saying, "Would you support us? Would you come to an event in New York?" And we knew that that was going to be really important. So that was kind of what Max and I, what we handled. And then we
Max who?
knew
Who's
Max McCormick, went to Taft, plays football at Georgetown,
Okay.
and we were all sophomores at this time.
Okay.
So Max and I were kind of like the alumni facing, and then we knew that Vaughn was kind of the internal guy. He's very squared away, much more than I am, or Max, or Connor.
You need to have that in an organization.
Yes, he was much more squared away, and he writes much more professional emails. And so we decided Vaughn is gonna be like our internal guy, our head of operations, and we called that personnel. So that was the second role. And then Connor he's brilliant. He's really, really good at, like, his bread and butter is just like investing, and like one day he wants to run a hedge fund. Like, it just made sense for him to run our education, which was going to be another huge pillar of our club. Was, we won't just introduce you to alumni, but we'll also teach you these technicals that I had felt so out of the loop on. And Connor, like, we knew he was going to get a great job. We knew he knew his stuff. And he's really, really smart, and he can also teach really well. So Connor O'Neill, also football, was kind of our education guy, and then ultimately ended up running our investment fund too.
That's actually insane.
Yeah.
Just to be around somebody who says, "Hey, that's not a bad idea,"
Yeah.
and then it turns into being one of your partners, the pillar,
Yeah.
right? Writing the professional emails all the way down to just being an absolutely smart guy
Yeah.
who knows his stuff.
Yeah.
So Athletes Invest is all about helping the student athletes,
Yeah.
with their skills like teamwork, grit, but
Yeah.
into finance know-how. And so what's one moment where you saw the mission really click for you and someone in the club?
Yeah. I mean, there's moments all the time. Like, if you scroll through our LinkedIn, I think it's the most fulfilling thing I get to do is, like,
I was on there for an hour and a half
yeah,
on the way here.
everyone posts. It's like a big thing when you get a huge banking offer, like, you post it. And
Yeah.
we as a club go through and we'll repost our kids and our athletes, like, job announcements. And sometimes, like, when I need to pick me up, I'm like, "Ah, I feel like it's just a slower day." Like, I'll go through and I'll be like, "Holy cow, like, this kid got a banking job at Goldman Sachs or at, JP Morgan or at
Absolutely.
Jefferies." And, like, it was really cool. We had one of our original, crew members, so he was, like, one of our VPs pretty early. He just got a really, really cool job, and he shouted out Athletes Invest, like, in his, like, job post, which was really, really neat. And I think it was just like, "Okay, we're making an impact." And then the second thing I would say was we had a New York City event, so
Yes.
it's gonna be an annual event. But
better.
that was just like a pinch me moment, like seeing who was on our panel.
Who was on your panel and what were the companies represented?
Yeah, so God, I was just like, it felt like an out of body experience.
You're like floating.
I was like, how did we get here? So we have our annual New York City event, which was we emailed a ton of Hoyas who had played athletics at Georgetown.
Georgetown Hoyas, for
Yep.
people who aren't familiar.
Yeah,
Georgetown
so a ton of
Hoyas.
former Georgetown athletes, primarily working in finance in New York City, a lot of banking. And we emailed a bunch of them and said, "Hey, we're gonna rent out a restaurant space and we're gonna bring our kids in. And if, we're gonna visit a few sites. So, all the banks we went and toured. But we're like, one night we're gonna have a dinner. And if you guys want to come by, we'd love for our kids to be able to network with you guys."
Love that.
And we thought a few people would show up, and there ended up being a lot more than a few. And the key thing I think that brought a lot of our alumni in was our panel. So that was Michael Mobison. He was a Georgetown lacrosse player. You can look him up. I mean, he's written books that a lot of
Brilliant
finance,
guy.
yeah, a lot of finance people kind of like his word is, that's it. He's brilliant. And Michael was on our panel with Tom Purcell, who started a huge hedge fund. He was at Viking. So Tom Purcell and he's a former baseball player. So Tom Purcell was on there, and then Don Fitzpatrick was the CEO at Soros Fund, which was
That'll do it.
so cool. And
Yeah.
she's Georgetown. She has kids at Georgetown, but she ran track at, I think at Penn. And then our moderator was Guy Adami, who is on, I think he's on CNBC.
Yeah, get out of town.
Yeah, and he's Georgetown football guy. So it was just like so cool to have those people, and people that you typically think would never take time to invest in young people because they're so successful, and that's not the case at all. They want to invest in athletes because they've been in our shoes, and it was just like so incredibly rewarding. It was awesome.
Yeah, when you see somebody with that type of stature wanting to invest in you, but also wanting to invest in the youth, I
Yeah.
think that's like confirmation. But um, w- with I mean, you've been able to excel your own career,
Yeah.
and you have a 2026 internship that you're doing with, is
With
it
Goldman
Goldman
Sachs,
Sachs?
yeah.
Can you tell me about that? What's the process it looks like for that?
Yeah.
Like, and do you have to be an athlete to be a part of Athletes Invest?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll answer the second question first. We
Okay.
do because, I said like our big thesis is like athletes want to help athletes. It's really hard to understand what it feels like to be coming home from a bus ride at Penn State at like 3 a.m. and you have an exam the next day and you're sitting on the bus and you can't sleep because you have to study because you were just, playing in a huge game on TV. Like, I think that's something that like athletes really do appreciate about each other, and you want that kid in like in your freaking conference room at like 3 a.m. Like those are the people you want to work with. And so we do keep it athletes only just to kind of
I like
like
that.
to fuel like, people, it's relatable. That's the shared experience. And we lean into that.
Yeah, so you have a mission statement, you're sticking by it.
Yeah.
Want to talk about your internship with
Yeah.
Goldman Sachs. What does that look like if you're part of Athletes Invest
Yeah.
and you're getting an internship? Obviously, you're CEO,
Yeah.
and obviously, I want to point out you're a woman
Yeah.
CEO, and I think a lot of women can look at you and see a byproduct of somebody who can do both and can pioneer their own way. So,
Yeah.
what did your internship kind of look like?
Yeah, it's funny. I had a bit of soul searching because there were many people in our club who got jobs that, like, frankly, myself and my team played a role in before I ever got a job.
Wow.
Meaning like my big banking job because I had a bunch of soul searching being from Atlanta. I had the whole, do I want to go to New York City or not? That's a very classic thing. Like a lot of our kids go straight to New York, and I just ultimately decided, like, I wanted to go home, I love home, and, I was like, "Am I doing this because I actually wanna do it, or am I doing it because it's what everyone else is doing?"
Mm.
So, I actually delayed my recruiting a little bit, and, I have a 5th year of eligibility because I broke my ankle my freshman year. So, I recruited like I'm in the grade below, if that makes sense.
Yep, yep, yep.
So I actually it's funny, like, at the New York event, I'm speaking as the CEO, of the club, and I have alumni saying, "So what are you doing?" And I'm like, "It's funny you should ask. I don't know yet." I need to figure out exactly, like, where my heart wants to be, whether it's in Atlanta or New York, whether it's in investment banking or private wealth management. Those are 2 very different, sectors of finance, and I ultimately ended up deciding I want to be in private wealth, in Atlanta, at home. So, but the process was a lot of networking, a lot of calls. It was just a lot of emails, a lot of cold calling. I came into the office like every break I could get just to shake a hand and not even knowing if I'd ever get the job or not. But honestly, like it came full circle, and a lot of those people that I'd built great relationships with were willing to say, yeah, we like this kid, so give her a chance, and um, let's let her apply, and it ended up working out really well. So
Well, I mean that. Look, if let me tell you what my parents would be like. Oh my gosh, like my son or my daughter has hung the moon. Like, do whatever you want. The world is your oyster.
yeah,
But I gotta know, mom and dad.
yeah,
you have a younger brother
younger brother, Tip
and
Tippins, Tip
Tip
Tippins.
Tippins. I
Yeah.
mean, that's Hollywood as it.
Voted on the D3 team of best names in college football.
I
Fun
mean,
fact.
hey,
Yeah.
he's number one in my heart.
Yeah, there
So.
you go. Yeah.
Can you tell me the family reaction when you're like, "I'm thinking about doing this, I'm gonna do it,"
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
voila.
Um, well, it's I always give my dad a hard time. He's literally my, like, I worship the ground he walks on. But when I called him about the club the first time, I said, "Dad, I think there's like a demand here. Like I think that I could build something here." And
That is such a
he
grown person response. There's a demand here. I'm gonna
Yeah,
meet the dem
yeah,
okay, keep going,
I was
sorry.
like, "There's a demand," and so I called him, and I just remember, like, his reaction was, he was like, "Look, you have a good GPA, you're smart, you're, a driven student athlete, like, you're not gonna, like, have to worry about a job, like, you're just not. You're at a great school," and I was like, "But I think there's a lot of kids that have the same fear as us, whether it's rational or not," and it ended up being very rational. Like, I was like, "There's a real problem here, like, kids are stressed because they can't figure out how to balance finance, recruiting, and athletics," and he's such a he did it his way. He went military, and then he went here, and then here, and then here, and so
Sure.
West Coast mentality to him, he's like, "No, there's no one way to do things," and what I was trying to explain to him early on was, "This is a very rigid process. There is. It's A and then B and then C and then D," and he basically said, he's like, "I think you guys are making, like, this problem bigger than it is," and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna prove you wrong." It was kind of the first time I'd ever told my dad because I think whatever he says is just
How
like
old were you at this point?
I was a sophomore in college.
Yeah, because you know everything.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. But I kinda told him, I'm like, "You know what?" And he told me, he's always like he's my biggest fan. He's like, "I hope I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. But I
Yeah.
don't know if there's a demand here like you think it is because you guys are so qualified, you're not gonna have to worry about jobs." And I said, "I think you're wrong. I think I can make something of this." So he is even more proud of it. He's sitting at the New York event and he's like, "You were right. Like, you were right. Like, there was a
It's gotta
demand."
be such a
It was so cool, especially because, like, to me, he's my role model. So, and my mom is always my biggest fan. So they're really, really proud.
Yeah. How is that family dynamic? You always see different stories being told, whether your parents have your back or you're not, or it's grandma, or it's just me and my bro who had it. How much of a role do you think they played in your life, and maybe even maybe something even faith based that you feel like they've kind of guided you towards, or had that mentality? You told me before we were rolling, it was a little bit of a competitive household.
Yeah.
So yeah, just go on.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, like, I look back, there's a reason why I wanna go home after school, like, I want to be with my parents, I want to be near them, I want my kids to grow up near my parents, like, my brother, we call all the time, like, it's a very family-centric household, it's kinda family over everything, to be totally honest, and a
Sure.
lot of that is because of our faith. I think when a family goes through some of the stuff that we've been through, like a deployment, like, kinda 2 deployments, like, you have
Yeah.
to lean on each other. There were times when, we were all asked to step up because dad's going to Iraq and, like, we need help getting tipped to football practice. Like, it's not fair for you to
Step up.
ask you this, but, like, you kinda gotta step it up because, like, you guys just we never really had the luxury of, like, every man for themselves. Like, we had to help each other out and band together. So, and a lot of that is faith too. There were calls we got when he was in Iraq and it was just like, say a prayer. Like, I can't really explain a lot right now, with the time zones and the calls and everything, but just say a prayer. And so, whether it be because of what we've had to go through, or whether it be because of our faith, and that's a really uniting quality, I think just our family is it's kind of like it's what grounds me personally, and I
Yeah.
think everyone in our family would agree.
Absolutely. Is there a quote or a saying that's around the family, or something that you're constantly repeating yourself?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, my mom always said, she's like, "How do you eat an elephant?" Whenever I would get overwhelmed, and I'd be like, "I have so many like essays and stuff and practice and like I'm upset with this," and she'd always say like, "You eat an elephant one bite at a time," and that's
Piece
kind
by
of
piece.
like that was our thing with the deployment too. Was like one day at a time. That's always been our value as a family. It's just like when things get really overwhelming, just break it up and be where your feet are and eat the elephant one bite at a time together, and it'll all be fine. And that is, I would say, like, that's a huge core part of how we approach everything as a family.
No, that's you obviously can tell. I was able to meet your dad first, then you.
Yeah,
So it was very organic. I really kind of fell in love with his story. He's very outgoing,
yeah,
very faith based,
yeah,
and so we started talking about me and my NIL firm, and so it kind of got directed to you.
yeah,
Um, so eh, you have your faith, your family, and then you have your work ethic.
yeah,
Where does your work ethic come from? Because there's a lot of student athletes with the NIL that are able to get paid and
yeah,
chill, or get paid and then wait for the big leagues. I think and I'm not playing it down, but as a woman to spearhead something like this with
yeah,
the unknown, I mean, it's like you're like a one of a kind, a woman, one of a kind firm, one of a
yeah,
kind Georgetown, Washington, New York banking finance.
yeah.
Uh, anytime somebody's like, "Hey, what's the next podcast guest?" I'm always like, "I'm going to Georgetown. You won't believe what this girl is doing." So,
Thank you.
kind of uh, tell me about all of that. just surrounds family finance and just how you were able to just muscle through it and be different
Yeah.
and your work ethic, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, I would say, like, I mean, again, I give my parents credit for this. They raised Tip and I very similar in the fact that it was always like, you know, don't don't do things how everyone else does it. Like, I think I also get that a lot from my dad. His mentality was always just like, here's a box. I think that's just how Navy SEALs are.
I know, not to mention he's a Navy
Yeah.
SEAL. We were gonna get to
Yeah, yeah, we can get there, but that's how SEALs are wired is like they see a box and some people see a box and I would see a box normally, but like watching him, I've learned how to like get into his head, which is like, how do I literally not just get outside the box, but like how do I shape this into a different shape? Like everything is just how do you be a contrarian? How do you start something? It's not like can I join? It's like how do I start something?
Can I join?
Yeah,
I love
like
it.
that, but that was kind of like always my dad's mentality, and I think that's what's helped me a lot. In Tip, and I think that's helped us as leaders too, is when everyone goes left, like look around and say maybe I need to be the one to go right. And then I would say with work ethic, both my parents, they both worked my whole childhood, my whole life, and I've watched both of them just work their butts off. They both are entrepreneurs, and so I think it's just always that, like, for them, it was like they owned everything, like, everything was at stake. So, like, they were able to say, like, a good day, that's because, yeah, I worked hard, and a bad day, like, that's on me. That's me first. And I think that carries into how I am as I hope I try every day to be like them. But, like, as a teammate, like, with this club, like, I try to just take a lot of ownership so that, there's a reason to show up every day because it's yours. Like, you can't watch it sink. You can't be like, "Oh, well," like
Yeah, you can't be like, well, that's dad's fault.
yeah,
Or
like
yeah,
yeah.
well that's Tip Tippin's fault, right?
Yeah,
Which is
exactly.
probably you would probably love to put it on him every now and
I
again.
tried, I tried growing up, but there was just a lot of ownership. It was a lot about accountability, and I think work ethic does come a lot from ownership and from accountability too.
Absolutely. Is there a story that dad seems to continuously tell you? He's the one who told me to ask you this question.
Uh-oh.
He was like, there's a story that I've been constantly telling her, or I'm constantly trying to reiterate. I'm sure it changes as life has its seasons, but is there something that really sticks out to you? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, dad's gonna probably, you know, tell me this.
Um, I mean, there's stories from my childhood
That's
about how we
plenty.
were parented,
Yes.
but I think it's just like the stories I grew up being like parented with like weren't normal. It was, I played a soccer game and let's say I didn't give my best effort on a play. It wasn't like, "Oh, good job, sweetie." Obviously, they're always supportive, but like I was getting explained like stories from when he was in Hell Week and it was like I had a broken leg or like okay, the perfectest example was like there was this one game where like I took a hit or trolley horse or something and I like came off the field like and I was complaining and I was like, I don't know if I can play tomorrow's game. And, my dad was like, I got a story for you. Sit down. He's like, he's like, he's like, I went, the second time I went through Hell Week or Buds, like I broke my leg and I thought I had to quit. And then the doctors were like, put simply, your brain can turn off its pain receptor. Like if you get to the point, like you actually, that's a mental thing. Like your brain can turn it off. He's like, I didn't think they were right. And then eventually my body just stopped. And he's like, so with all due respect, I love you to death. I'm proud of you, but like you can play tomorrow's game, like and it was always like that. And it was just there were just stories that were just there was such a high level of
Intensity.
toughness and intensity, but it was always with love too. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean I'm trying to think of any other stories from him.
Well, while you're thinking, I can think back about, my father missing some of my games, maybe not
Yeah.
getting able to be there for certain times.
Yeah.
And uh I'm glad my dad was not a Navy SEAL talking about turn off the pain receptors, because I
Yeah, at
think I
the
might
ripe age of like
you're
13.
right.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, um, it's actually it's really incredible because I feel like some people they get given a platform and they get a huge learning curve and they can either be about it or run from it. Has there been a time um that you've been doubted or underestimated and how'd you overcome it? And I'm sure uh women who are watching you, whether you feel like it or not, they're looking at you for reaction.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, not everybody loves Henley.
No,
Okay.
it's never how it works. I don't know. I really I try to tune that stuff out. Like I think there's always doubters at any level, especially as an athlete. Like one of the things I've really been trying to work on, especially like going in my senior year when you have nothing to lose. Like everyone's gonna have something to say. Like no one's ever gonna be perfectly happy. If you're too confident, then people call you arrogant. If you're too shy, then people call you nervous. Like you know, I do try to ignore that. There have been times. I mean, when I started the club, like there are other clubs on campus, and they were like, "Oh, what are these jocks doing? Like,
Yeah.
like what are they gonna do? Like, this isn't gonna be as
Is there a
legit."
time where you've like faced adversity or felt like you said, like I haven't had a really great day and it's all about
Yeah,
what I make of it? Because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, because
yeah,
I'm okay to be wrong.
yeah,
Um, our generation, it's like if they get hit hard enough, they are very slow to get up. Whereas like the previous generations, it's like pop back up, next thing going, let's go, because
yeah,
their parents grew up in the Great Depression era.
yeah. We
E-
struggle to
e-
take a hit to the mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And so how are you able to kind of bounce back whenever you don't get the most out of your day or you don't get the answer
yeah,
that you want?
yeah.
Give me some.
I mean, I would just say like the best example that comes to mind is freshman year. I came in really confident. High school, I'd been on a club team.
Gatorade Player of the Year
Yeah,
too.
and like those, I captained a national championship team in high school, and I came into to college, and we played five really good teams, and I scored 5 goals, and I went into a weird tackle and I broke my ankle. Season over, freshman year over. There's a lot of hype and pressure going into sophomore year. Like, okay, this kid can score. I didn't score. I completely underperformed. And that was a setback. That's adversity, and I think that taught me like how to take a hit and you know, how to process adversity. You just have to I had to lean on my teammates. I had to learn also like it's not linear, like maybe freshman year I felt like yeah, I'd show up to practice and more days than not I was doing great, and sophomore year you show up and you've the world of noise on in your ears and stuff, and and maybe it's every 3 days you're off, and every one day you're on, and how do you deal with that? And I think it's remembering like progress, like it goes up and down, but as long as you're trending in the right direction, and God, that experience had taught me so much about how to overcome adversity and pressure and doubts and internal doubts. God,
Well, one thing I can commend you for is that, I mean, we're rolling on to our 30 plus episodes. And so I'm able to talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of athletes, and a lot of them are not like you, who are very transparent about a really stellar year, then a not so great year,
yeah,
coming off an injury or mental fatigue or whatever it may be. So I can commend you to talk about, okay, I did not perform,
no,
and that's on me. That's
yeah,
on nobody else.
yeah.
But you have performed in other ways. As CEO of Athletes Invest, what is some of the most rewarding things that you've been able to accomplish, whether it's seeing your other teammates do it or, the firm building out the way you want it? Kind of, what's that rewarding part?
Yeah, I always love the application process. So we started with like 10 people ish, 15 maybe. And we took our first application cycle, then our second, and we're going on our third right now. So we
Is this
take
a
on
quarterly thing
semester. So
per
one in the
semester?
fall, one in the spring.
Ooh,
So
I,
right now, exactly. There's always turnover. It's a lot, but right now we're doing our third process of taking applications. And I think every year you think maybe like we're gonna lose some applicants. Maybe the buzz that was a 1 year thing. It was just
it's just
fresh.
hype, right?
And like it's cool too because it's running itself. Like the other day, I get a text. I'm playing Vanderbilt in Nashville, and I get a text, and it's like, "Hey, our information session," which is kind of like the Q&A leading into applications.
Sure.
The information session was so crowded. It went great. Your crew ran it great. I didn't even know who was running it. At this point, we've learned how to like delegate, which is really awesome, and I can trust them. And I knew that my crew would handle it. I'm on the road. And I get the text that's like, yeah, the information session was so big that people had to stand up. There was like no room,
So you had a standing room. So
which
you
is
didn't have enough
cool.
chairs.
No, and like for comparison, it's like it's the same room size as our first application cycle, and we're only growing. And I think that's the really like that's the really rewarding thing is watching this. Like it's not just a buzz; it's like a movement. Like and then another thing is, we had Goldman Sachs reached out because they're trying to create an initiative to recruit more athletes to their firm. And, they went directly to us, kind of as like
That's literally insane.
yeah,
I know you want to like
so
glaze over
cool.
it. I know you've been probably asked like these type of
No,
questions, but like, how old are you?
21.
You're 21.
Yeah.
Goldman Sachs 2026 internship. You partnered with Young Firm.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, like, if I'm a firm and I like what I see, how do I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
How do I, like, if I want to be a part of Athletes Invest,
Yeah.
what's that process look like? Um, yeah. Do I
Yeah.
have to be from New York or Washington?
No, but I would say the New York scene is definitely overrepresented right now with the whole finance scene.
Do
But
you take private equity? Do you take public funds? How does that work? What's the differentiator? Is there a cutoff?
um we mostly target banks because and there's been a lot of news about this, but typically you have to go work 2 years of IB of investment banking before you go into private equity. So
Sure. Yeah.
for us it makes more sense unless it's like growth equity or like a smaller scale boutique private equity shop. It makes more sense for us to target banks because they're looking for undergrads as opposed to postgrads. And so what we've done is, it's starting to become self-fulfilling. So like some kids that were seniors last year are now like at the banks and they've been asked, like we have one of our founders actually is like going to be a huge contact for JP Morgan, Georgetown recruiting, which is so cool because we're like, great, that's our guy, you know?
That's great.
And it's the same with other firms. So it started off with just being like, hey, this firm's going to be on campus to talk to everyone. So like non-athletes, like they're going to meet up with some other clubs too. And that is some of it is, a firm will just come visit and they'll reach out to like 5 or 6 clubs and we're on their list now. But over time we've developed more personal relationships to the point where, they'll come to us directly. There's one firm in DC that we've fed, I want to say it's like 5 or 6 kids now for internships and we have 2 full-times. Called
Is
the
this paid internships, can I ask?
Yeah, called the Briding Group. And so it's just been cool, like, that's a direct partnership at this point. I mean, unofficial, but, like, it's definitely a strong relationship, and we feed them a few kids a year, and it's so cool. It's purely relationships, it's the trust that we've built, and the other thing is, like, that's why our applications matter so much is because we know that, like, if they don't like what our kids go do, if they don't like the work that
Sure.
our athletes provide them, then they'll stop. But up until this point, like, our athletes perform and they do great in their internships and they get return offers. And so it's just really become it's a mutually beneficial thing. And yeah, it's funny. One of the things when we first started was I had a habit, and you could
Oh,
probably,
wow.
yeah,
Did
but
you? Make me
you
feel
you
normal for
you
once.
could probably
Whew.
you could probably look into it, and you could probably do is is it because you're a new club, or is it because you're some girl and you kind of have imposter syndrome or whatever it is? But I had a habit of like when I would talk to firms when we started this club, I acted like it was an IOU. Hey, would you mind if we like email you and introduce you to one of our kids? And I definitely had this mentality like it would be such a huge favor if you guys would talk to one of our kids or if you would interview them or if you whatever. And as I've gotten more confident, we've all realized like this is a very mutually beneficial thing.
Mm.
Like every firm is looking for talented young people. And that's more and more rare and student athletes are like an objectively driven, organized group of people. And so it actually works in both ways. And that's been one of the biggest lessons I think I can speak for all of our founders when we say that we did not anticipate how much of a like mutually beneficial relationship we would have with the firms.
Wow. It really seems like well, first it feels like I'm talking to like a young Bill Gates or like who's like the young woman as like right now. Like I'm gonna get the people through this interview in like 10, 15 years. I'm like, hey, I talked to her. I don't know where she is now. She makes whatever. But uh yeah, there's honestly like there's probably only two interviews that or podcasts, not interviews. Two podcasts I really can think about that made me feel like I was talking to the next cutting edge, and that is Preston Trout, which is the Dallas family, and it's you, and it's not even like the Georgetown finance banking thing. It's your ability to communicate your mission and your vision because there's people out here who are phenomenal. at what they do, banking, finance, all the way down to the creativeness, and they're not able to convey to me what their purpose is and everything. So I just want to give you your flowers. Like
Thank
you're doing a really good job.
Thank
So
you.
like anytime that you're like down and you're in the dumps, like just know that you're like way above most people. And I mean, you really should be commended for that.
Thank you. It's not just me. We have a really, really good team. So it made it much easier.
That's the difference. That's
Yeah.
the difference.
Yeah.
That it's it's not you, and you learn and you get to be different every day. Tell me what the word regret means to you. And the reason why I bring up regret is because I feel like I'm the type of guy that's going to turn over every stone because I don't want to regret anything. So reflect on what the word regret means for you, like whether to not think about it, whether any way that you see fit.
Yeah, I kind of hate it.
Yeah.
I hate the
Me
word.
too.
I don't know. I
Do you
just
regret anything you've done?
no. I mean, even my big like my biggest mistakes have. I look at everything I've done and like again, this goes back to faith. Like I don't believe in regret. Like I think every position I've been in, every table I've sat at, every right or wrong comment I've ever made, or right or wrong play, like that was all pre-written by God. So I don't really believe in regret. I think I'm just kind of living out like I think of it as like a book. Like I'm living out a book that God's already written, and why would I regret something that God strategically placed in my life? I really try not to live with regret, and even mistakes like mistakes are the best way to learn. That's something I haven't really like been able to embody. I think until the past, like the clubs taught me that, soccer's taught me that, college soccer's taught me that, college career and mistakes and failures taught me that. Like I just don't believe in regrets. I don't think it gets you anywhere. Like you can't look backwards.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I just really asked that because you hear people late 20s pushing forward and they're like, damn, I kind of regret. And I'm like, why would you say that? I mean, you are who you are. I mean, you hear people who are vastly successful say they regret stuff. People who are not successful at all say they regret stuff. So that's why I asked you. I'm gonna bring up a picture now.
Okay. Uh-oh.
And I want you to kind of explain. I think it's you and Dad, and then you
Okay.
explain to me kind of what's going on here.
Yeah, that's us bird hunting in Argentina.
So is that like an annual trip?
Yeah, no, so the story with that is, I mean, I've been like whether it be bird hunting or deer hunting.
You like hunting?
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it so much. It's like one of my favorite hobbies, and it's how I ground myself. Like when I get home for Thanksgiving break, hopefully we're not home for Thanksgiving break, but the past few years, when I've gotten home, the first thing that I've done is I just want to go sit on a deer stand. Or like a dove hunt with my dad is like one of our favorite things because I'll help him plant it. My brother and I will always help him plant the dove fields. And so it's just like it's just a thing. It centers our family and we're all in on it. My cousins, my uncle, every single person hunts. So yeah, so that's us bird hunting in Argentina. The cool story with that is I have like it's like a grandfather figure to me, and he takes the trip once every 4-ish years, and he's getting older, and he basically said, I think this might be my last trip. You should go, and I want to take you, and you should, he was inviting my dad, but he was like, you should bring Henley, like bring her, because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. The bird hunting there is unbelievable.
What type of birds are we hunting here?
There we were dove hunting, but they have like perdiz, which is like their version of quail.
Okay.
And then
A little smaller bird.
duck hunted. That was the worst that was the worst morning of my life. I couldn't shoot anything. But we duck hunted, perdiz hunted, dove hunted. And the dove hunting is insane because you look up and it looks like gnats, like it looks like flies.
That's
And
how many there are?
there's so many, there's thousands. You have to pick like, okay, I'm gonna work on my shooting from right to left. Okay, now I'm gonna go back to forward because if you look at the sky, like they're all moving in so many, you can't follow one bird, so you have to move direction.
Aim and
It is
shoot.
insane. It's unbelievable. And I got to do that with my dad and one of our closest family friends, and it was really unbelievable. It was amazing.
So you're talking about your friends and your family, and do you have any like weird childhood like nicknames or whatever? Some people call me like G-Man or
I was always Hen.
Hen.
My dad calls me Pumpkin.
Pumpkin.
Or Punk. Like a punk, or it started as Pumpkin, but it moved to Punk. So I was punk for my dad.
It's like 2 different meanings.
I know.
Dad, what we doing, Clay?
I was punk. And then Bug. I don't know why I was ever called Bug.
Oh.
Actually, a funny one, I was called Nugget
Oh, okay.
by one of my closest family friends because I would only eat chicken nuggets. I like
Or
wouldn't
have you moved on from that?
ish.
Oh boy.
Barely.
Are you a picky eater?
Yeah, but we've evolved. But I
Oh,
started
okay.
by only eating chicken nuggets, and so like Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets to be specific, and so my nickname was Nugget. And I got to meet the CEO of Chick-fil-A this past summer with my job, and I told him, I said, "You've probably heard so many different ways that people glaze you. My nickname as a kid was because of your company." How you like that? It's cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I used to be called Nugget, and I met CEO
Yeah.
last week. Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, so I was called Nugget because I ate so many Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets. So
Hey, shout out! We need an NIL deal from
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
yeah.
So you've seen the way athletes have been able to take their NIL and morph it into something greater than before.
Yeah.
Whether it's in women's soccer or it's football or even it's not even with your university. I mean, you see just across the nation kind of a shift. What
Yeah.
is your thoughts on that and kind of where do you see it going? What do you see fit? I just want to get your gauge on it.
Yeah.
It's a big question. I
No,
love it.
I've thought about it. It's a little bit of an internal conflict for me. Because on one hand, I'm at Georgetown. It's a school that is increasingly being affected by the competitive NIL landscape. We're investing heavily in our basketball program. I don't think that's a secret. To stay competitive, and I think it's gonna work, and I believe that that's the right thing to do. But look, NIL it's creating a bit of a divide between do you have football money or do you not? And
Yep.
I think having seen that at a smaller, super academic school like Georgetown, I have feelings about it because I think Georgetown athletics and the opportunity. To me, it's crazy that somebody would pick, a NIL scholarship coming in at a not academic school. That's really hard for me to wrap my head around compared to a lifetime degree at Georgetown. To me, that's the best NIL deal you can get. But the other side of me is a diehard Georgia football fan and grew up,
Oh boy, that is some very conflicting views you
it
have.
is. And so I see both sides of it. I'm a diehard Georgia football fan. I understand that, these guys, like, people have been being paid before it was even allowed to be paid. It's gonna happen no matter what. It's kind of my mentality is like, things are gonna happen. You might as well know about them. You might as well be able to track them and track the payments. And why hold something back there's already an economy for it.
Yeah.
It's just like it was kind of like a black market. Like, I don't know if I can say that on film, but
Yeah.
like that is what I
It's
think
absolutely.
I think it was inevitable. It was gonna happen. And it's really cool from an entrepreneur business side of it for me to watch, like the way people are gotten creative about it. I was watching like the LSU NIL documentary last week, and that was just so cool. You think, so much strategy goes into it, and those people are really, really good at their jobs. So it's brilliant. Like, it's a persona, it's branding, it's marketing. I don't know how you can look at it without curiosity. It's so fascinating, and I'm really curious to see where it's going next. We were talking before it even started about how the collective landscape is changing, on a year-to-year basis. So, I've put a lot of thought into it. I haven't come to a definite
Me neither.
conclusion. I don't think anyone has.
No, you really can't. It's really tough to see kind of the NIL landscape because of the massive shift. So when I started it, my junior year in college, like
Yeah.
I was just talking to companies like, hey, this isn't illegal.
Yep.
And maybe you should look into it. To
Yeah.
now, they're like, okay, so how do we do it? How do we work with compliance?
Yeah.
And, what does this work for tax incentives or
Yeah.
whatever their heart desires? And so the way the conversation has changed, so has the landscape. So it's really hard to put your finger on it. But what's your thought on and this is completely separate from Georgetown,
Yeah.
when people go into the portal and then you see them get paid like $5 million. What's your thought on that? Because I think that's absolutely outrageous. Maybe take a little bit of love out of the game. But
Yeah.
as a player who's been injured, this is kind of where I go to. I'm like, yes, I want them to play for the degree, but it's like they're running around, they break their ankle or tear their ACL, it's like then their net value like sinks. And so you
Yeah.
want them to be compensated in some way. And yes, you know, I can't say an LSU degree is equal as to a Georgetown degree. So
Yeah, but I mean, they're getting paid, and for a lot of those people, it's also like really life-changing amounts of money. Like, I don't know, some of them I shake my head at. Like,
I do too.
with
I do
all due
too.
respect, Carson Beck, having been a Georgia fan, it's like he's in Miami getting paid so much money. And I guess all the glory to him. Don't hate the player, hate the game. And that he got paid, and I'm shocked. And that's just one example. Like, some of these transfers and some of these NIL deals, I'm really shocked. And like, how do we reach that number and realize that that's the value on this college athlete? But again, like, someone's gonna get paid. Like, clearly brands are looking for it, and collectors and universities are looking to pay these athletes, and somebody's gonna be the quarterback at Miami, or someone's gonna be a quarterback at Florida State, or someone's gonna be a quarterback at, like, these schools. And like, again, the NIL thing, like the documentary I watched with LSU, like Flau'jae, like, that's not an accident. Like, she's brilliant. Like, Angel Reese, brilliant. Like, even the way Kim Mulkey's like embraced it as part of
Yeah.
their university, like, um, as much as some of it is questionable, other parts of it I really, really admire, and I think they're business people as much as they're athletes, and it's cool to watch. I was able to go to the influencer NIL event in
Yeah, you
Atlanta.
went to the NIL Summit.
Mhm.
Can you tell me a little bit about the NIL Summit and because it was its first year,
Yeah.
or maybe second?
Yeah, yeah, I went because it was in my hometown, because, our Georgetown athletic director asked if I wanted to head over there, and I did, and I'm glad I did, because, I looked at it as a, like, kinda like I'm just learning about business, like, I'm learning about entrepreneurship. Some of those people never touched the field. Like, there was this D3 kid, and I forget where he was at. It was a really good school, like a Georgetown type of school. And he had won so many awards and made so much money, not because of his athletic career, just his ability to brand himself.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. I think I went into it assuming it would just be, the starting quarterback at Alabama, and it was not the case. There are a lot of side stories in NIL. There's a lot of niches that people have found, and um, I was sat next to General Booty. That was pretty funny. Quarterback.
Yeah, that's right.
I like asked him, like, so what's your name? He's like, General. I'm like, are you
Nice.
General Booty? And there were people like that. There was like the kid that he was like, no, he like grew up as a child, like, he was like a meme,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
now he's like a lineman or something.
Something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there were cool people like that, like, it's because of their name, or it's because of their, like, childhood meme, or it's because, they're really, like, they're just savvy, and it's not always the stud quarterback like you think of. It's, a track runner at this school. So that was really, really neat. I think it completely changed my conception of what I thought I knew about the NIL space.
Absolutely. Absolutely, like, eye-opening. I wasn't able to go to the NIL Summit, but I was able to hear, like, through the grapevine and right, with whether it's, Celsius or non-alcoholic beers
Yeah.
or, like, you have the nucleus of your collective and what endorsements are in that space, and then you have exterior, endorsements coming out and kinda how that's negotiated. So, CEO of Athletes Invest, athlete, investor, owner, what is some advice that you would give to other student athletes who want to make this big jump, or maybe even just people in general?
Yeah. I don't know. I think the biggest thing is like, you just have to be confident in, like, your abilities. I think it's really easy to have imposter syndrome wherever you are, especially as a college athlete. You get there and you feel out of place, or you feel like, I don't know if I've earned this. I don't know if I deserve this. I don't know. What do people think? I'm not good enough? What if, like, this club is stupid and the whole
What if
concept
it
isn't gonna
fails?
work? Like, you can't have that fear of failure. I think you just need to have confidence. And like, my biggest mantra this year has just been like, be where your feet are. Like, I do have a habit to look backwards a lot and to compare myself to, like, my past games or past self or even past seasons, or, I think you just have to be, like, where your feet are, and you have to know that, okay, past is past. I have nothing to lose. I'm exactly here in this moment. How can I make the absolute most out of this past, or this practice, or this game, or this interview, or this meeting, whatever it is, Like,
Making the most
I'm
out of
here. I'm here. I don't have to prove myself. I just need to be present and be myself. And, if I'm good enough, then I'll be in the next situation. And, I'm here for a reason. So,
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. And I think like a quote that I kind of live by is, or it's kind of like a interactive, but what does a giant see when he looks in the mirror?
I don't know.
He sees himself. He
Yeah.
doesn't see a giant.
Yeah.
Everybody else sees a giant.
Yeah.
So I say it's like you need to like look at yourself and realize like who you are is like what you are capable of doing. Like
Yeah.
you're big to everybody else, but for you it's like imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So what is something that you do as a hobby outside of sports, outside of working with the firm, being the CEO? What do you do like on the side? What do you do for fun? What does Henley do?
Yeah. Well, our team is like super close.
Yeah.
Like we're like best friends. Like we always say like our coach gave us like a built-in set of best friends. So like when I'm not, especially when I'm in DC, like I'm always with my teammates. Like especially in my class, there's 8 of us. We all live in the same house together. And we like live in this really historic. It's so cool. We live in this house on O Street, like in the middle of Georgetown,
Beautiful.
and we're like best friends. So we'll play cards, we'll watch football, we just started our fantasy league last night. So we're just like best friends. Like
You did the draft?
yeah, like we hang out. Like I just
What's your team name?
what did I call it? It's like Henley's heated team or something. It's not good.
Oh
It's
boy.
really bad. It's
How
not
was
good.
the draft?
Good.
Anybody that sticks out to you?
Yeah, I got Puka.
Love that for
Pretty
you.
fired up about Puka.
Yeah, pretty fired up about that.
Yeah. So yeah, but like we're normal. Like, I think that's one of the things people forget about athletes is like even I do it when I'm watching like, football on a Saturday. I'm like, oh, these are athletes. I'm like, oh no, these are guys like they're normal. They're my age. Some of them are a lot younger than me, like, and it's the same thing. Like we hang out, we're best friends, like our team. So and then when I'm home, we talked about I love hunting. I love bird hunting, deer hunting. I'll go to the farm, and we'll, just hang out and decompress and step away. And then I'm a bit of a foodie.
What's your favorite type of cuisine here? Just in
Um,
general. Let's just go in general.
I love Mexican food.
Oh, I love Mexican food.
Like I love Mexican food.
Okay, like
good.
what's like I gotta get the enchiladas. Where we at here?
I like fajitas.
Fajitas.
Yeah.
She likes a show and a
Yeah,
dinner.
like I just I like to make my own little tacos and stuff. But I love fajitas. I love like I love
Is there any
food
good
and
spots here in Washington?
yeah, we
Yeah,
have
is there
good
really?
food. Yeah, there's a place on Georgetown that has a Michelin star called I think it's called Latisse.
Okay.
Latisse. And then there's a place called Yellow. It's really good. I love our teammates like spam tate. We go all the time. That's the winner of fantasy gets a huge Tate gift card.
Nice.
Have to have incentives, and Tate is ours.
The winner gets, and I bet that thing gets ran out like like
Oh, like
hey
it's
winner.
like 2 meals. It's like 2 meals.
Oh, okay,
Max.
okay,
Like
okay.
it'll be gone.
Depleted.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's like a parent chain of restaurants here in DC that own like it's like Clyde's, Toombs, Fitzgerald's, Martin's. There's like 2 more.
Big ownership group.
Yeah, and all of those are like really, really good. But I just like visiting with people. I like sitting at a restaurant. And so it's more about the company than it is the actual food itself.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like I always say like the best employee is a student athlete because they get the rigorous, they know results aren't made overnight.
Yeah.
They're able to like wake up and hone in. But I'm not gonna ask you what makes a good boss to you, because you are your own boss in some shape or form.
I try in some ways. I don't know. I think the most respectful bosses are the people that, they talk the talk, but they walk the walk first. It's not do as I say, not as I do.
That's
I
the
never respect
worst.
that.
Oh,
So I just think, the question at its core, like being a boss is leadership, and I think the best leaders I've ever been around, you never feel like you're just being talked at. You feel like they're gonna do it with you, and they're taking every step with you. Um, I also just think like people that are willing to like step down, like and we were talking like one of the things that I was most blown away about and admired the most about the people, our panelists were like they're willing to talk to young people, and technically that's not something they have to do, but they're willing to invest in people below them and people that are like, you know, quote unquote beneath them. And think the best leaders they're like that. They have a genuine curiosity in how people work, not just people that are above them or people that are even, but they want to get to know how the people that work with them are wired and what makes them tick and how they're incentivized and, why are they this way? And I just think leaders, they're willing to meet people where they're at below them, and invest in people below them or younger than them or whatever it is. And then they're also just have a genuine curiosity to understand how people work. Um,
What are some people that you look up to in the business world?
yeah. I mean, I had the pleasure of getting coffee with Don Fitzpatrick after the New York event.
That's crazy.
She invested in me. She reached out. She said, I like you, and especially like woman to woman, like we need to invest in each other. And I really, really, I think, this club is cool, and I would love to, help you out sometime if you want to come in the next week. And I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be in New York, draw coffee, and she dropped what she was doing, met me at the office. And she's just so cool the way she carries herself. And she's so intelligent. She's so well spoken, and it's the same thing. Like I look at her and I'm like, she knows she belongs in every room she's been in. And so she's a huge role model.
And so, can you tell people kind of what she does, or why it kind of draws her to you? Like,
Yeah, so she like runs Soros's investments, and she's the CEO. So she's, you know, it's
she's a mover and shaker.
she's just yeah, she just gets stuff done. She's a doer. And she's a badass. And I mean, she obviously has earned the right to be where she is, and her track history is tremendous. And she reports like she reports to Soros like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And you have to be sharp. You have to be like she's got so much going on and so many people depending on her. And she's just earned a career for herself. Also, it's not like she did it at the expense of having a family. Like I talked to her a lot about, she has two kids. One's at Georgetown with me. Actually, both are at Georgetown, but her son is in my grade, and and he thinks that not only is she a great boss to some people, like she's a great mom. And
Well, that's a hard balance.
yeah, and so I was able to talk to her about, how do you have the trade-off? And she was able to do it. And so I think that's why she's also a big role model for me is she's kind of inspiration that you can do both. And then I'm trying to think of some others.
There's so many. You have a crazy Rolodex for a 21-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. I learned a lot from my boss this past summer. His name is Charles Andros, but he started, a private credit firm before private credit was really even a huge industry, and of course now it's blowing up.
Sure.
And he's a bit of a contrarian too. Like he kind of was always thinking, okay, what are people not seeing? Like why is everyone moving in the same direction? And the biggest thing I learned from him is like he got coffee and lunch with like every intern individually throughout the summer, and it's not even like he's traveling a lot. He made time, and he knows everyone in the office, and honestly, that was one of the things I learned from this experience this past summer at my internship was just like invest in each other, create a culture, and it starts top down. And I think I learned a lot from him and kind of how he sees the finance world and how he sees opportunity in a lot of pockets that people would normally stay away from because they're too risky or they're not popular. So I learned a lot from my boss this summer too.
Yeah, it seems like some industries that may seem not so good or are the ones that are most interesting when you really deep dive into it. You're like,
Yeah.
wait, who's owning all these yachts down here? You're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's the guy who like puts like the cotton in your jacket. And you're like,
Yeah.
what? Or it's like the guy that owns rubber bands. You're like,
Yeah.
that is not cool because it's way cooler to say, I'm owner of Google or something like that, or like I
Yeah.
do Meta.
Yeah.
So has there been a push with finance and everything? Just a little bit like crypto. Is crypto
Mm,
kind of like inching its way into into maybe your firm, or you see it kind of being talked more about in the banking sector?
Yeah. I think I don't know. We had a lot of debate about it this summer too. Our intern class was split half and half. This guy named JT Hudson, JT is the biggest pro crypto guy ever. And we were flying to Corpus Christi for a meeting, and we spent the whole flight talking about crypto.
Oh, boy.
The whole flight.
Oh,
And
man.
it was interesting. I don't think anyone you know, I don't think anyone really knows. People have theories and people have hunches. I was able to, I talked to some people at a crypto like networking event. They were really cool. They obviously believe in it, and it's a bit of a hedge, and I believe in hedges right now, especially with, look, there's a lot of uncertainty, and so again, if you're someone who kind of looks at the way that everything else is going and says, how do I hedge against this? Like it's a natural hedge. Um, but I don't think that I don't think everyone fully knows yet. I had a professor, I'm taking a global financial institutions class, and she was like, "Yeah, I don't know if crypto's like, I don't know if it's gonna fly or anything, but I have to get some, obviously, like, because if it
Yeah.
does, you have to have some."
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't even know if I believe in it, but obviously I have to invest in crypto. Like, I don't have a choice because it's a trend, and like every few trends hit, and like if this hits and I don't have it, like I have to do it.
Yeah.
So I think it's something to pay attention to. It's also being used, like crypto's increasingly being used as payment methods.
Yeah.
It's going to be integrated.
The guy who
It's not
like
going
bought a
anywhere.
pizza for like
It's not going
$4
anywhere.
million.
It's not going. Yeah, exactly. It's not going anywhere. I think it's here to stay. I don't know if like all like the stable coins and all the different versions of
yeah.
it. There's a lot of different, but at its core, it's intuitive.
Yeah,
It's not
I
going
had to
anywhere.
buy some Bitcoin just
Yeah.
because I was sick of people saying, "Hey, do you own crypto?" And I just
Yeah.
kept looking at them like, "No." So now I'm not like on the sidelines anymore. I feel like I'm in it. So you have to kind of dabble in it. And I know that kind of ventured off, but I want to know, family question. Dogs? Do you have any dogs? Any
Yeah.
cats? What you got? A little
2
cattle or
dogs.
something?
No animals.
I just keep hearing
Yeah,
ranch.
we had goats for a second at the farm, but
They tear stuff up though?
yeah, that's what we had 'em. We like put them in a kayak and carried them to our island, and we're like trying to like clear out all the rust with our goats.
But you got some dogs.
We have 2 dogs. We have 2 Hungarian Vizslas. They're the best breed in the world, and I would like die on this hill. And they're both bird dogs, and they're insane in the best way. And I've had Vizslas my whole life. Jones. We name all of our dogs after Johnny Cash songs.
Love that.
Yeah.
Jones and
Jones, which is like I think that's Shooter. I think it's like Waylon Jones, but like Waylon is mentioned. I don't know. Somehow that's connected
seems
to
like
it.
this is a little bit of Dad's
Somehow,
idea.
yeah. Somehow it's connected. No, actually, it's my mom. Somehow,
Okay.
somehow Jones is connected. To somehow to Johnny Cash, and then Shooter. So Shooter Waylon Jennings.
Yeah.
Shooter Jennings. And then we've had a boy named Sue. And then we've had Blue, Folsom Prison Blues.
It is very Johnny Cash.
But we've had 5 Vizslas throughout my life. Maybe 6, 5. And my parents have had them their whole marriage. So we love this one breed, and we hunt with them, and they're awesome.
So maybe a little controversial topic.
Okay.
What is your thoughts on people like dressing up dogs
Mm-mm.
and doing that?
No.
Like Shih Tzu with
Nope.
a raincoat.
No.
We're not doing that.
No.
Wow.
No.
This is great. This is
No,
great. This is like
no.
where like I'm like, oh, this is going well.
I think of it as like 2 different like species. Like there's like the dogs you dress up, and then I don't know what, it's not a dog. I don't know what it is. There's value to it. Like
yeah.
I would maybe have like a dog and a Shih Tzu. It's
Yeah.
like,
Maybe not.
no, but like the little I'm a big dog person. You can't dress a hunting dog up. You just can't do it.
I think Dad would have a stroke.
Yeah.
If you did
I would have a stroke. Like we bought our little one like a barber jacket vest. It was the most like over the top thing ever. But we did it to prank my dad just to see what he did, and he like actually lost his mind.
Yeah, you like take that off.
He's like, my dog's not wearing a jacket. Not wearing it. Take it off. So yeah.
I love it. Okay, so you have a game at Georgetown. They say it's a home game. If you could have one celebrity pull up, who would it be?
Ooh.
Give me like a top 2 or 3 if you're filling the question.
Oh shoot. Hold on. Maybe Lainey Wilson.
Okay.
I'm a big country music fan, and I think, well, if I'm gonna go Lainey, I should just go like, I'd just be cool to like meet George Strait.
So George
So I'll
Strait.
go like one country singer. I'll go George Strait. Then I'll go like,
Favorite George Strait song?
She'll Leave You With a Smile.
That was quicker than any
Or
question.
Troubadour. Yeah. Yeah. Final answer.
You got two more.
Um,
Wait, or one more.
I'll go two.
Okay.
I can think of it.
You've been able to just breeze past
This
these
is
guys.
the
I
one
give you
thing-
like a hypothetical, and you're
This
like,
is the one thing I have to think about my invites very carefully. Oh my gosh. This is like where you like bring in the edit and it's like the it's like the clock. I'll just go country singers. I'll go George Strait, Alan Jackson, and Lainey Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe Dolly. Add Dolly.
Dolly Parton.
Dolly.
Was Dolly Parton like falling in the top 3, or is she going to the 4th spot?
I'll move Lainey down and Dolly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's.
So Dolly, Alan Jackson, and George Strait. Wow. I sound like a redneck. Okay.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
they pull up to Washington, they're gonna be like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I think a George Strait little halftime. How long
Yeah.
is soccer? Like, do they have they don't have a halftime?
Yeah,
race,
they
but-
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long is that? How long does halftime last?
It's like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Could George Strait do a
We can
halftime
get
show?
like a little song in from George.
Yeah.
So tell me, what's one thing you can't live without?
Music.
Music.
Yeah.
And big country artists. So I actually saw a reel.
Okay.
And you said something in the moonlight was like your favorite pregame song. Is that accurate?
Oh, was it Dancing in the Moonlight?
Dancing in the Moonlight by something Yeah.
Yeah, because that's like pregame. Pregame's different. Like my pregame songs, or like Beast of Burden by Rolling Stones. It's like a cool one because that's like a like you're just like you feel very like it's just like swag. Like you just feel cool. You feel like you're so like you're just chill. And I have to be chill before games. So like Beast of Burden is like really embodies like my vibe. But then like Dancing in the Moonlight's also a good one, especially the remix.
Yeah.
Because that's like it's just fun, like it's loose, you
Yeah.
know. And I have a tendency I get too uptight, so.
So it seems like if you're upstate, I feel like house music and all that stuff really takes
Yeah.
really takes a place. But tell me one skill you're grateful others have that you don't have.
Logistics.
Why?
I'll do it. I have to do it. I have to learn how to do it. But like definitely not one of my strengths. Like I will switch times and places. I have awful memory. Really bad memory.
Are you the type of person to use maps?
No, I can't use a map. I'm geographically challenged. That's a better answer actually. And it's related to logistics. Like I can't use a map. Like my boyfriend always jokes. He'll like we'll be driving and he's like, "What direction are we headed?" Like just quick. I'm like, I have no idea.
He knows like southeast,
Yeah.
west, north.
Yeah, and like but just like I've been driving the same like my hometown, I still have to like map myself to my friends' houses sometimes. And we've
Yeah.
been friends for like 15 years. So directions. Final answer, directions.
Final answer.
Directions.
So yeah, that's just a skill you don't possess.
No, like times, places, directions, navigation, like I can't do it.
Well, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
So we're kind of wrapping up here, but I want you to tell me advice that you would give yourself if you could kind of go back a couple years before you started the firm.
I would say we run into like crossroads a lot where there's 4 founders. So there's 4 like decision makers.
You got an even
And-
number.
Yeah, and there's sometimes where it'll be 2 and 2. You know, what do we do? And then we have to call alumni and we have to, you know, ask one of our VPs or something. And I really wish we had built in earlier, and I think we're gonna do it going forward. But one of the things I didn't think about is having an odd number of decision makers because it happens. There are really important decisions we've had where it comes down to 2 and 2, and then it also just it's not fun to be like you're like trying to convince someone to come to your side and they're trying to convince you to like swing a vote, and I'm like, this
Yeah.
sucks. Like we clearly just agree to disagree, and we should just bring in an odd person. So
Yeah, so odd member, quote unquote, board members and stuff like that.
yeah.
Well, Henley, can you tell the people what you got going on, what you're looking forward to, and kind of what can they look out for?
Yeah. I mean, first things first, this season, like we play South. This will probably be released after South Carolina, but just if you're like watching the season, we're playing South Carolina tomorrow at home. We played Virginia Tech. Ultimately, we played Vandy. So we're having a fun season. We're playing a lot of good games, and we're honestly getting some really good results. So just I would say this soccer season, especially like it's my senior class's last season, which is so exciting and so crazy. So that would be the soccer part of it, and then we're our LinkedIn, we try to keep it pretty updated in our Instagram, but Athletes Invest, we're gonna like really, really try to keep the quality with our next New York event because that was like a huge success. So that's definitely something on my radar. And then I don't know, maybe I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I think
It
that's
seems like
it.
you got a lot of stuff going on. I mean, you have another NIL summit coming on.
Yeah,
You're going to do another New York event with your
yeah.
firm. So after school, are you going to stay CEO of Athletes?
We've spent a lot of time trying to figure out like the lineage of the club. So how do you get things running when you're not there? When I mean, all four of us are in the same grade too. So we graduate this year, and then it's like, how does this thing keep running? And what we've realized is like you have to start delegating, you have to start trusting people, you have to start bringing people in and saying, here's some responsibility. I want you to lead applications this whole cycle, and if it fails, it's on you, and if it's great, it's on you. But I want you to feel that ownership so that people start to like present themselves as like the next version, the next CEO, the next COO, like, the future of the club. And so
Yep.
we've been really working on that the past few weeks, and that is the future is we're going to hand it off. You can't stay like you have to learn, like you have to invest in the next generation or else it'll die when you graduate. And so no, I'll be involved, and I'm sure I'll be like an alumni on the board, or we'll figure out what that title looks like.
Yeah.
But all four founders, we've talked about it. Like we want to hand that off. We're excited to do it. Like we're so excited to see who's, the
Up for the
next
challenge.
gen. So yeah, that's next. It's exciting. It's also nerve-wracking, but it's really exciting.
Yeah, I think anything difficult is worthwhile.
Yeah.
But last thing, tell the audience what made you choose the NIL podcast and kind of why me and why the pod.
Yeah. I mean, first things first, you reached out, and I'll give you credit. I was busy. You're persistent. It's a
I
good
do not
quality.
stop.
It's a good quality, and I realized I was like, I like it. Like this professional. It's organized. It's persistent. You clearly had a vision. It wasn't just okay. I'll pull anyone on. You knew why. You knew, I can offer a different angle than some other athletes, and vice versa. And I think you clearly like have an ability to see what every single conversation can offer, and that no one like podcast guest is the same. And you were willing to, I mean, I told you, I said, I really, I'd rather focus on my off the field accomplishments because I think they outweigh my on the field accomplishments. And you were willing to work with that.
Yep.
You're adaptable, you're flexible.
Entrepreneur to entrepreneur, I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah, like you clearly saw, like you were willing to work with me and you were flexible, and so I don't think I would have done it otherwise. And also just like you look at the Instagram, it's like I have a lot of people that I know that follow you. Like that's pretty cool,
Yeah, I know, I know. I
That's
was like,
cool.
our mutuals. I was like, that's actually
Yeah.
crazy.
It was really cool. So I was like, all right, this guy's legit. I know some of these people that he's worked with before, and like, yeah, I want to be one of those people, on the other side of the podcast. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Well, here you have it, the NIL podcast. We have Henley Tippins, Georgetown women's soccer, right here in the heart of it in Washington, D.C.
yeah,
Thank you so much for coming on. Hey, got to check it out. She's doing some crazy things. You got athletes, and you know that we're going to come to you with a deep dive into their amazing LinkedIn. They have a great website, and
yeah,
they're the first of the first.
yeah.
So thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Grayson.
Awesome.